My parents handed me an eviction notice, their own daughter, 72 hours to get out. I left their mansion with $500 and a duffel bag. I was homeless, broken, called mediocre. They wanted to teach me about failure. Instead, I taught them about karma. This is Revenge with Maya, and this story will blow your mind. The rain hammered against my window as I stared at the eviction notice my own mother had just slid under my door. An eviction notice, from my parents, to their own daughter. Sable, you have 72 hours to vacate the premises, it read. My mother, Venetia Ushkad, had printed this on legal letterhead like I was some deadbeat tenant, instead of her 24-year-old daughter struggling after a laugh. My father Garrison's voice boomed from downstairs. She's an embarrassment. Our friends keep asking why she's still here unemployed while their children are doctors and lawyers. 6 months ago, I'd been a promising marketing coordinator. Then the company folded overnight. I'd sent out 200 applications with barely any responses, but what hurt most wasn't the eviction, it was the why. My younger brother Cuspoan had dropped out of college after 1 semester, yet he still lived here rent-free with his trust fund. My sister Ivory had crashed 3 cars in 2 years, and they just kept buying new ones. Me, I'd worked 2 jobs through college, graduated with honors, never asked for anything, and now I was being thrown out like garbage. The door burst open. My mother stood there in her designer suit, expression colder than the November rain. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. You're 24, time to stand on your own. Mom, I just need a few more weeks. You've had 6 months. You eat our food, use our electricity, contribute nothing. You're a drain on this family's resources and reputation. But Cuspoan doesn't work. Ivory wrecked another car. Your siblings have trust funds, they have value. Her words were ice picks to my heart. You were supposed to prove yourself without our money. Instead, you've proven you're mediocre, and we don't do mediocre in this family. She dropped a manila envelope on my bed. $500, be gone by Friday or we're calling the police. As she left, my father called out, don't come back begging, you're cut off completely. No money, no connections, no family name. I sat there numb as reality crashed down. 72 hours, $500, no job, nowhere to go. But as I packed that night, something hardened inside me. They wanted to see what I was made of. Fine, I'd show them exactly what Sable Ushkad could become. I just had no idea how devastating my revenge would be. The homeless shelter smelled like desperation and disinfectant. 3 days ago, I'd been in my childhood bedroom. Now I was surrounded by strangers, my life reduced to 2 duffel bags. My phone buzzed, a text from Ivory. Mom said you actually left Lull, don't embarrass us by panhandling downtown. The woman on the cot next to mine introduced herself as Mulla. She had kind eyes that had seen too much. First time. I nodded, not trusting my voice. There's a woman who comes here sometimes. Quantusa, she runs a business helping people get back on their feet. Not charity, she invests in people others have given up on. She'll be here tomorrow. What kind of business? The kind that made her a millionaire after she was homeless herself 20 years ago. She looks for potential in people the world has counted out. That night I barely slept, but by dawn I'd made a decision. Whatever this Quantusa offered, I'd take it. I had nothing left to lose. What I didn't know was that this encounter would destroy my family's empire from the inside out. That in 6 months, my parents would be the ones begging. Karma was about to become very real. Quantusa Navar didn't look like a millionaire in her jeans and simple sweater, but the way she moved through the shelter, confident, purposeful, marked her as different. I approached during breakfast. Ms. Navar, I was told you help people. She turned, her eyes sharp and assessing. Help is a strong word, I invest, tell me about yourself, the truth. So I did, the laugh, my parents' cruelty, my siblings' privilege, the eviction notice, 3 nights in the shelter. I laid myself bare. What do you want? She asked. A job, a chance. No, what do you want? The truth came out. I want to prove them wrong. I want to succeed so spectacularly that they have to watch and know they were wrong. Quantusa smiled. Revenge is an excellent motivator. I run a venture capital firm finding overlooked talent. She showed me her tablet. Your parents are Garrison and Venetia Ushkad. They own Ushkad luxury properties, worth about 200 million. How did you? I research everyone. Interesting, they're about to break ground on Meridian Towers downtown. Their biggest project yet. They've leveraged significant debt for it. What does this have to do with me? I'm going to teach you to compete with them, beat them at their own game. I'll give you resources to launch a rival project that makes theirs obsolete. I laughed incredulously. I don't know anything about real estate. You know marketing, you know their world, you grew up in it, you know their weaknesses. She leaned forward. I provide $2 million in capital and expertise. You provide insider knowledge. We build something that destroys their flagship project. Why would you do this? Because 20 years ago my family threw me out for marrying the wrong person. I built my empire from nothing. I despise people who abandon family over money. Her eyes hardened. Your parents deserve this lesson. She extended her hand. 6 months, $2 million startup capital. You keep 70% of profits, I keep 30. If we fail, you owe nothing. Either way, your parents see what you're capable of. I thought about my mother's cold eyes. The eviction notice. 3 nights in a shelter while my siblings slept in luxury. I shook her hand. Let's destroy them. The next 6 weeks were brutal. Quantusa worked me harder than any job I'd ever had. I learned zoning laws, construction costs, architectural trends, financial projections, but the real education was in psychological warfare. Your parents' Meridian Towers targets wealthy retirees and executives, Quantusa explained, showing me their marketing materials I'd accessed using my father's old passwords. Traditional luxury, premium pricing, exclusivity. So we undercut their prices. No, we make them irrelevant. She showed me renderings. Eclipse Heights, same area 1 block away. We target young creative professionals, remote workers, people who want luxury plus community and sustainability. Solar panels, co-working spaces, rooftop gardens, modern, eco-friendly, 15% cheaper but feeling more exclusive. They break ground in 2 weeks. Which is why we're announcing Eclipse Heights tomorrow. Press conference, renderings, pre-sales. By the time they break ground, we'll have stolen their thunder and half their buyers. My stomach churned. They'll know I'm involved. Exactly, that's the point. She handed me a press packet with my photo. Sable Ushkad, founder of Eclipse Heights Development, rags to riches story. The media will eat it up. That night I couldn't sleep. Tomorrow I'd declare war on my own family. There would be no going back. But as I rehearsed my speech, something shifted inside me. For 6 months I'd felt like a failure. Now I was a competitor, a threat, someone who demanded to be taken seriously. The press conference was at 10 a.m. By noon my parents would know I was coming for everything they'd built. The press conference room was packed. Reporters filled every seat. Quintessa had leaked enough to create buzz about a homeless woman launching a multi-million-dollar project. I stood at the podium in a sharp suit, trying to calm my racing heart. Good morning, my name is Sable Ashford, and 6 weeks ago, I was living in a homeless shelter. The room went silent. My own parents evicted me because I lost my job. They gave me 72 hours and $500, then cut me off completely. My parents, Garrison and Venetia Ashford of Ashford Luxury Properties, told me I was mediocre, that I'd never amount to anything. I paused. They were wrong. I clicked to the first rendering. Today I'm announcing Eclipse Heights, a revolutionary development that will redefine luxury living downtown. Solar-powered, community-focused, designed for people who want more than square footage. They want purpose. The presentation flowed smoothly. I discussed sustainable architecture, demographic research, projected returns. I sounded like a professional. Then came the question. Your parents are developing Meridian Towers 1 block away. Some might call this a direct attack. I smiled. I call it competition. Meridian Towers represents old thinking. Eclipse Heights is the future. If that means outperforming my parents' project, so be it. They taught me to fight for what I want. I'm applying the lesson. Who are you really? Someone shouted. I dropped my professional mask. Someone who knows exactly what Aldrich Corvell was worth, and what happens when you underestimate the daughter you threw away. By evening, the story was everywhere. Homeless daughter challenges real estate parents. The narrative painted my parents as cruel elitists and me as the scrappy underdog. My father called, voice pure rage. What the hell do you think you're doing? Competing, father, just like you taught me. You're using our family name to. My name too, remember. You wanted me to prove I could make it alone. I'm proving it. I hung up. The war had begun. My father's retaliation came fast. A cease and desist letter claiming I used proprietary information. He called banks to sabotage my financing, reached out to suppliers warning them not to work with me, called the zoning commission looking for permit violations. But my story had captured public imagination. When word leaked that my parents were actively trying to destroy their daughter's business, the backlash was brutal. Social media exploded. Team Sable trended. Editorials condemned wealthy parents crushing their children's dreams. My mother's favorite charity asked her to step down. Then came the game changer. A journalist named Kestrel Thorne called. "Ms. Ashford, I've been investigating your parents' business practices. You should see what I found." We met at a coffee shop. She slid a folder across the table. Ashford Luxury Properties has been cutting corners for years. Substandard materials documented as premium, bribed inspectors, code violations never disclosed to buyers. I've been building this story for months, but nobody would go on record. They're too powerful. My hands shook looking at the evidence. Photos of crumbling foundations, emails discussing payoffs, altered inspection reports. Why show me this? Because you're the only person with motive and credibility to expose them. You're their daughter, you'd know the business, and you have nothing to lose. She leaned forward. I publish this, Meridian Towers is dead. Your parents face investigations, lawsuits, criminal charges, but I need someone to confirm details. I should have felt conflicted, but looking at evidence of their fraud, the corners cut, the buyers cheated, I felt only cold resolve. What do you need? Over the next week I told Kestrel everything, every conversation I'd overheard, every shortcut my father bragged about, every time my mother laughed about manipulating inspectors. Her exposé dropped on Sunday. House of Cards, how Ashford Luxury Properties built an empire on deception, 15 pages of documented fraud with me quoted throughout. The response was nuclear. By Monday, 3 investors had pulled out of Meridian Towers. The city launched an investigation. 2 class action lawsuits were filed. The bank called their loan, pay immediately or the project dies. My father called screaming, "You destroyed us, your own family." For justice, I said calmly. You taught me mediocrity was unacceptable. Turns out fraud is too. We'll sue you. With what money? Your assets are frozen, your credit destroyed, your reputation gone. I paused. How does it feel, father, to have everything taken away? The line went dead. Quintessa called. Eclipse Heights pre-sales just doubled. Everyone considering Meridian Towers is coming to us. We're selling out before we break ground. I'd won, I'd destroyed their empire. So why didn't I feel better? The next month was chaos. Garrison was arrested on fraud charges. Venetia was named in multiple lawsuits. Their assets were seized, the mansion, cars, jewelry. Ashford Luxury Properties declared bankruptcy. Meanwhile, Eclipse Heights broke ground to massive coverage. I stood with a golden shovel, cameras flashing. The homeless girl was now the face of ethical development. Pre-sales hit 15 million in the first month. Projections showed I'd be worth over 30 million when construction finished. I was everything my parents said I'd never be, but I couldn't enjoy it. My sister Ivory reached out. They deserved it, she said when we met. I've been in therapy. Mom told me 5 years ago she wished I'd never been born, called me damaged goods. My heart broke. I'd been so focused on my pain I'd never seen hers. What you did, exposing them, succeeding, it gave me courage to face my demons, Ivory continued. Thank you. We cried together, 2 sisters finally seeing each other clearly. 2 days later the hospital called. My father had had a heart attack. He was asking for me. I drove there in a daze. When I walked into that room and saw Garrison Ashford, once so powerful, now so diminished, I felt something unexpected. Pity. Sable, he rasped, you came. What do you want? To apologize, I was wrong about everything. You were never mediocre. You were extraordinary and I was too blind to see it. Why did you throw me out? Because you reminded me of myself before the money. I thought I was teaching you strength, I was just cruel. He coughed weakly. The business is gone, everything, because we built it on lies, but you built something real. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. We didn't fix everything in that hour, but we started something, an understanding, maybe the beginning of forgiveness. My mother was in the hallway. Venetia looked small without her designer armor. "I don't forgive you," I said quietly. "Not yet, maybe not ever. But I'm letting go of hate, not for you, for me." I started walking away. "If you want to try being my mother instead of my critic, you know where to find me, but I'm done chasing your approval." Liberation. 6 months after that press conference, Eclipse Heights' grand opening was spectacular. City officials, celebrities, hundreds of new residents. The building gleamed, solar panels catching light, rooftop gardens visible, community spaces buzzing. I gave a speech about second chances and building something meaningful. Quantussa beamed beside me. "Your 70% share is worth $42 million. Not bad for a girl who started with 500. $42 million, but that wasn't the real victory. The real victory was who I'd become, not bitter or cruel but strong and purposeful, someone knocked down who built herself back up, someone who'd won but chose mercy over revenge." Muller from the shelter attended. "I'd hired her as community liaison. You kept your promise." We both did. I'd helped Muller get clean, get stable, rebuild her life. Success meant nothing if I couldn't lift others. My father attended, permanently diminished, walking with a cane. When our eyes met, he nodded. Respect, acknowledgement, maybe love. I nodded back. My mother didn't come. She'd moved to her sister's house in another state. Maybe one day we'd reconcile. Maybe not. I was at peace either way. As guests filtered out, I stood alone on the rooftop, looking at city lights. Somewhere others were struggling like I had, feeling worthless, abandoned, lost. I called Quantussa. "I want to start a foundation, like what you did for me, finding people others have given up on." "I was hoping you'd say that. We'll call it the Second Chances Fund." "I'm in." The girl thrown out for being poor was now a millionaire philanthropist. The daughter, called MEDIOCRE, was changing lives. My parents had tried to teach me about weakness. Instead, they taught me about resilience, the kind where you succeed so completely that hatred transforms into pity and anger becomes purpose. I bought a penthouse in Eclipse Heights, modern and mine. Garrison lived in a modest apartment now, working as a consultant. We had dinner monthly, slowly rebuilding something honest. Venetia and I spoke occasionally, strained conversations. Maybe one day we'd find our way back, maybe not. Ivory was thriving, running an event planning business for mental health awareness. Caspian had gone back to school for social work. My siblings and I had become friends, united by shared trauma and determination to break the cycle. The Second Chances Fund helped 23 people in its first year. 23 who'd been homeless, jobless, counted out, who now had businesses, careers, purpose. And me, I was happy, actually genuinely happy. Not because I'd destroyed my parents or become wealthy, those felt hollow now. I was happy because I'd discovered who I really was when everything was stripped away. I was Sable Ashford, not mediocre, not ordinary, not defined by approval or disapproval. Just me, and that was enough. My phone buzzed. Quintessa, found another one, 26-year-old veteran, homeless after medical discharge, brilliant logistics mind, interested. I smiled. Send details, let's change another life. Because that's what you do when you've been saved, you save others. That's what you do when you've been given a second chance, you create second chances. And that's what you do when people try to break you, you prove broken things can rebuild into something stronger. My parents thought throwing me out would teach humility, it taught me power. They thought poverty would crush my spirit, it forged my character. They thought I'd come crawling back. Instead, I built an empire that made theirs look like cards. True success isn't measured in dollars or revenge. It's measured in lives touched, people lifted, legacy left behind. My parents left fraud and broken promises. I was leaving hope and second chances. When I looked in the mirror now, I didn't see the girl they'd thrown away. I saw the woman I'd chosen to become, scarred but not broken, tested but not defeated, rejected but not worthless. I saw someone who turned her worst moment into her greatest triumph. I saw a survivor. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.